Welcome back to my great adventure. This is episode 2, and what you're looking at right now is footage of me cleaning the DX7 because I didn't do voiceover because I had the air conditioner running and it was just too messy, which also made me realize when you're really excited about a certain project, it's really easy to forget to either set up a mic or a camera or both. At least in this case, I did set the camera up as I dismantled the rest of the DX7 to try to clean it a little bit. It also needs a new keybed pad, which I thought was the aftertouch pad, but it turns out the aftertouch pad is underneath that, so I've got to check that too. But the keybed pad is just disintegrating. Thankfully, I found a company online that sells them for about $5, so it's going to need a new DC power board, which I already mentioned in the last episode. There's also some capacitors on the main power board that probably need to be replaced because they're a fire hazard. As I took apart the DX7, realized that one of the end caps is a broken piece. Actually, it had 2 or 3 broken pieces, as you'll see in the video. And I'm anxious to get that at least functioning so you can hear it. But this project is not going to move forward until I get a new DC power board, which may be another week or 2 or more. But I'm not in too much of a hurry to get this one turned around. The other project is the M-Audio Prokeys 88. I've been bleaching the keys, and I'm still not happy with it. Right now, the keys look splotchy and not uniform. I probably am going to set those out for another batch or 2 in the sun. And this is one of the boards from the M-Audio Prokeys. As you can see here, there are normally 2 pots or dials on here. I've removed one of them. And here I am taking it out of the package, a new one. These were pretty easy to find online once I knew what the part was. So I ordered 2, even though only one of them was bad. I wanted to make sure to replace both of them. So I just unsoldered one and soldered them back and had a bunch of trouble. So I'm not going to show all of it. The first one went pretty well. The second one, not so much. I think the tip on my soldering iron was just too small. So I put a larger tip on it later on, and it seems to work much better. So that went fine. Both of them are on. I tested it. It works. And there you can see me checking the wiggling, and they don't wiggle. I've got 2 other things. I got in an Alesis QS6, which is a really fun synthesizer. I was going to do an entire video on it. Instead, I'll probably tack just some of the fun on the end of this video, on this episode. It was, I hooked it up to my audio in and actually recorded the synth, and loaded some sounds on it. Some of the pads are really nice, and it's just a really cool synth, but to keep this venture going, I really need to sell it. So I've got it up for sale, and then I've got my Axiom Pro up for sale. And then yesterday I picked up a Yamaha P95, which I know what's wrong with it. It's the same thing that's wrong with the DX7. The DC power board has blown capacitors. So I bought some capacitors off Amazon, which was probably my first mistake. And I replaced all the capacitors, which you'll see here. But I don't know if my soldering iron was too hot. There's a storm outside, so I don't know if you'll hear the thunder, but I'm still really learning how to solder correctly. And my soldering iron is a piece of junk. I got it off Amazon, and I need to just get a new one because it's got a plastic ring that holds it together and a spring inside, and the threads are stripped already. So it pops apart. Every time I try to use it, it pops open. Which makes it really frustrating. And my solder sucker, you'll see it in this, it pops open too. So all that to say, this was a failed attempt to get the sound working again on this keyboard. It looks better now, but in one of these shots you'll see the board with a red jumper wire, because as I was soldering, the little ring of connection on the back of the board just broke off, and so there was nothing to solder to. So I had to solder a jumper wire as I followed the path, and it still doesn't work. So it was a bit of a lesson in frustration, just kind of teaching me to take it slow and maybe not always jump into things. But I do like to take risks, and I like to learn, so this was frustrating that it didn't work. But I think with better tools and a better multimeter and some more training on the right way to really test capacitors, I think my future attempts will be much better. The positive side is the Yamaha P95 has an amazing key bed, and the MIDI still works on it. So it's a wonderful controller that I can hang on to for now until I can get it fixed, because I just don't want to sell it in the state that it's in, because it's not going to be worth as much. That's really all I've got this week. Just a lot of things going on, frustrations, learning, just trying not to get discouraged and not bail out on this new venture before I get started, but also not what I don't want is 5 or 6 or 10 keyboards all in here, and I don't want to keep buying more even though I find these great deals on a keyboard. I don't want to keep buying them but not get them turned around and get them back out the door, because otherwise I'm just going to end up being a keyboard collector who spends way too much money on stuff I'm not ever going to use all of it. So I know I'm rambling a bit, but to encourage my own inner self, I guess, for lack of a better term, and to encourage others, is keep on taking risks. I'm not going to give up on this before I barely get started. So I hope you'll continue to come with me on this fun ride. And like I said, I'm going to put a little bit of my fun time with the Alesis QS6. So here that is. All right. So this is the Alesis QS6 firmware 2.0. And it's a pretty fun keyboard. It is fun. I have pads programmed into user. No, I don't. I have the vintage. So let me open the SysX librarian on my Mac, which you can't see because I'm not recording the screen. Let me load the pads on. All right. There we go. Yeah. The way this works is you have, I'll show you the banks. You have preset 1, and for each of those, you've got 9 sounds times, what is that, 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 12. So you have 12 groups of 9 in preset 1, and preset 2, and preset 3. Then there's general MIDI, also another grouping, and then you have user. It stops at 7 on the end, so there's 127 in each bank, which is a pretty good amount of sounds. You can see, I mean, I can jump to another one. Let's see, synth. My microphone is picking up the keys. There are just dozens of sounds. Let's go back to bank 1. Grand piano. This is very much more a 90s piano sound. You can also tell that I'm not a pianist. Some marimba. Would you believe I was actually listening to the Baja Marimba Band today? That's another long story. My father got me into that when I was a kid, and I actually still love it. Anyway. Break drum. Yeah. There are drums. Let's see. Drums. See my hands, but... yeah. What are the... Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Wrong note. There are ways to layer it. It takes a while to program it, so I'll get into that on this one. That's wild. I could go on forever. I mean, there's just so much stuff in here. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of fun, and hope you subscribe and keep coming back for more content. Thanks.